All right, I'm back here. Uh, I've made a decision that the next thing we're going to do is to develop the tier T and where the tier T are from. You can't really do one without the other. So I've been doing some sketches, getting some stuff figured out, trying to decide what needs to happen there. And I have help now. My best friend has actually been helping me with this project. He lives here, and so we got together and he's been helping. And over the summer he's probably going to be more involved with like the video making and stuff. But I have some updates on the tier T. I've decided that they have three general distinct cultural groups. There is the hilltop cities that I had mentioned that are relatively more recent. Obviously, those had to develop over time, so they're not recent, but comparatively to the existence of the culture, they are recent. They still have the nomadic, sort of traditionalist tier T. And I had this idea, so I designed these beasts of burden that you'll see probably in the next video that they use. Obviously they're huge because they have to be for these giant creatures. So you got these huge beasts of burden, and since there's certain parts of the environment that has evergreen forests and other parts that are very barren, they harvest the logs and they use sleds because of how frozen everything is, dragged behind these beasts of burdens, and will trade logs and other resources to the different permanent settlements. And I want to develop that more, but then I didn't want there to just be two distinct cultural groups, because that's kind of what I already have for the Wrath Sky, and that seemed a little bit too repetitive. And I had this idea for a third group. I was thinking that perhaps the high elf creatures, let's see, my friend came up with a better name for them. Let me find what he had come up with, because I like that he's really into etymology, so he was messing around with prefixes and suffixes and stuff, and he was coming up with some pretty good names in a very different way than I do. So I ended up liking it. He came up with, for the high elves, instead of Ampia, Arborian, and I liked Arborian a lot. And for the earth elves, we kept the ending the same, so we have the Arborian for the high elves and the Atarian for the earth elves, which still you can tell there's a relation there, which I like. But despite that, the Arborians are coming in, and especially in these permanent settlements where they're more allowed in, they are taking over to an extent. Kind of imagine if you've ever played the Elder Scrolls series, the Empire in pretty much any settlement or setting that you've been, there's certain sections where they're basically like, they're here kind of asserting their power. And so the third group is resisting that. They have moved further away to the other side of where the Arborians are from, and they live in these mountains, actually along the border of the Wrath Sky and the tier T. There's these mountains and the Yellowstone sort of area that I have, and there's caves all throughout the mountains, and these tier T have moved into these caves and have started basically doing guerrilla warfare and fighting against people coming in and trying to dominate their culture, take advantage of them for being so peaceful. And so I'm really excited to develop that section of it. I've also been doing some concepts for the jellyfish, the Auroran jellyfish that are like the Northern Lights. I was playing around with some designs for that. And hopefully those will be developed enough to show in the next video. But yeah, I think moving forward with the Tirti and their sediment and their culture is the move, especially because it seems like the thing most people I've talked to are the most interested in. So if we can get that figured out, we can expand outwards from there, and hopefully things will all sort of mesh in a nice, cohesive way. Even though it's not just me working on this anymore, hopefully we can still get stuff working in a nice way that it doesn't seem too disconnected. So obviously my friend has different influences in his, world building. He's more into like Dune and sci-fi and Elden Ring. He was a big fan of Dark Souls. So there's going to be different influences coming in, but I'm hoping that that's actually a good thing and not going to be a disruption. So thank you for accepting the short video this week. But yeah, hopefully I'll be back next week with a video exploring the Tirti, and that won't be the end of exploring the Tirti. That'll be the beginning, and there'll be a whole series of it, and I'm very excited for that. Thank you.